Well, the Iraq War, 13 years after it began, continues to be an issue in this presidential campaign. Why? Well, for one thing, and this was an issue for Hillary Clinton when she ran in 2008 and lost to Barack Obama, she, as a United States Senator in 2002, voted to authorize the war, voted to support George W. Bush in going after Iraq in the wake of 9/11 on the grounds of the weapons of mass destruction, of course, which turned out not to be true. And Donald Trump has made Iraq a major issue because he has criticized Clinton's judgment for that vote and has repeatedly said that he was opposed to the Iraq War all along. Many interviewers have asked him. I questioned him about this almost a year ago. Well, there's no public record of you speaking out against the war until later, 16 months later, when most of the country was turning against what turned out to be the botched aftermath of that invasion. And Trump said, no, I was. But then, of course, he gave a kind of a tepid, I guess so, when he talked about it with Howard Stern a few months before the March 2003 invasion. So here's an email from ZWM, and Z writes, why does no one, including Fox, ever point out that Trump was a private citizen at the time determinations were being made as to Iraq, whereas Clinton was not? She should be held to an entirely different standard than any of the rest of the public at the time. I think that would be a reasonable argument if that was an argument that Donald Trump was making. In other words, I mean, he has said, look, I was a private businessman at the time. He said it mostly in suggesting why there's no particular record of him speaking out against the war before it started. But it is true. Hillary Clinton was a United States Senator. She had access to information. She had to cast a very important vote for or against war. She has said she regrets the mistake that she made, and she continues to pay a political price for it. Donald Trump was busy building buildings and casinos and hotels and golf courses. Wouldn't necessarily even be expected to have a fully developed position on the Iraq War, except for the fact that he repeatedly points to what he says was his opposition before the war as an example of how his judgment was superior to that of a woman who was this country's chief diplomat. So if Trump wasn't making that argument, if Trump was saying, look, you know, I had qualms about the war, but I wasn't my job to speak out because I was busy with my company, I think most journalists would say that's fair. It's because Trump is saying he was against it and matching his judgment against Hillary Clinton's judgment, Senator Hillary Clinton at the time, that distinction is often lost.